You know, Michael, when I listen to this case, the opening statements in the case, a couple of things jump out at me, right? I think it was clear that this was a young lady who was taking advantage of a friend who was compromised in some way. And I think you can characterize it clearly under the law as stealing. And I don't think the defense cares one bit about that. If you get her on stealing or forgery, whatever, that's a huge win for them. They're trying to get away from this murder charge. So I want to focus on that. And when I get these cases and I open them up and I read them as if I was going to be representing this person. And I looked at it, I said, there's a lot to work with here. There's the relationship between the two, the different things that they did together and that this victim was aware of, but also there was a ton of medicines inside this woman that really, I don't see how the prosecution explains it other than she was attempting to do something to herself. And if that's the case, and it's difficult to determine whether tetrahydrozoline not only can, but did cause the death of this woman, I think that puts the defense in a fairly decent place as far as the highest charge.
I fully agree with you. What I came away with from watching the opening statement of the defense attorney, after watching the opening statement of the prosecutor, there's reasonable doubt, right? Obviously, we have to see what the evidence bears out and how the trial goes on. But even in the opening statement of the prosecutor, he was tying the financial crimes as the motive for her to kill her. But when the defense attorney, as you pointed out, was showing pictures and slides of all the medication bottles, even I know that those are very, very, very serious drugs. And he said at one point she had 16 pills of one of the bottles in her system at her death. There is definitely reasonable doubt. Look, this poor victim obviously was not doing well. She was in terrible health, and she was taking some pretty high-end medications. And we know that people die from these medications, right? If they abuse them. So I think there's definitely going to be reasonable doubt, Michael, like you say, on the murder charge. The rest of the stuff, it would be a win, like you said, if she just gets convicted of stealing money for somebody that she didn't kill. But yeah, I agree that there's definitely seems to be a lot of doubt that she poisoned her with the Visine, which is the claim.